And with that, hey guys, and welcome to this new video. In this video, I want to introduce you to an affordable socket that is Zigbee enabled. But first, after the intro, enjoy. So, the special thing about this socket is not only that it is Zigbee enabled, but it also has Wi-Fi and can measure power consumption, which some of you have requested after I introduced a power strip that could be reflashed and then controlled via MQTT, for example. If you want to watch the video, I will link it again up here. This is just a simple little socket, so it's basically not a power strip. You can only plug one plug into it. The advantage is that it can not only be connected via Wi-Fi, which I definitely wouldn't recommend for such a product, simply because it comes from China. You never know where it will be shipped, and so on. What you can do, however, is connect everything via Zigbee. This works without any problem, and I would like to show you how this works. And the cool thing is that you can measure the power consumption with it, so you know exactly what the current consumption is and of course what your total consumption is. You need to play around a bit in Home Assistant if you want to have a monthly consumption, for it really only tracks what has ever gone through this socket in total. Most people probably prefer to have a monthly, weekly or daily statistic instead. You will need to play around with some formulas. If you would like to see a video on that, feel free to write it in the comments. But now, I would say, let me show you how to integrate this into Home Assistant. First, we need to get a socket where we can plug everything in. So, we simply plug in the Zigbee socket. Ideally, it should turn on as well. Now we can connect directly to Home Assistant. In Home Assistant, we go to Supervisor, then to Decons, and of course select the USB stick from the Foscon interface. Then I enter the password here and click on Login. Next, you go to the menu, select Sensors, and connect a new sensor. Select another option here, then it will take a moment and everything should be connected. The special thing is, and you need to pay attention to this if you wonder why it doesn't appear in this sensor list. For some reason, this sensor is recognized as a light. So when we go under Lights here, we see Smart Plug 3. This is the plug that I just connected. You can give it a custom name here if you want, and also assign it to a group. But it also means that if you have a switch in Decons, for example, a light switch that is supposed to turn off your light, so a group, then the smart plug will turn off with the light. You just need to know whether you want that or not. Otherwise, you simply leave it out of the group. Now, as usual, go to the settings, under Server Control, and then restart it here so that everything appears in Home Assistant. 2001, and when the restart is complete, go to the normal dashboard, and then ideally, we will also see the new sensors here. We need to search here once, and then it should be somewhere under Sensor. Here we already have Power 17. No idea why it is called that now. You can see that 0 watts are currently connected. To verify everything, we will now plug in a device again. I will simply take my beloved hot glue gun and plug it in here, turn on the socket, and then after a few seconds, you should see that the energy consumption has increased. Right now, 29 watts are being drawn by the hot glue gun. Of course, this can be presented more visually if you want to do it in the dashboard. I'll just go to the overview now. I've already done that here. For example, we would have here the total consumption. A total of 5 kilowatts have been used here, and here you can also see the graph showing how it is currently increasing. How you can do this yourself is simple. Just click on the 3 dots, configure the user interface, and add a card. Then we select a sensor here. In this case, it would be the Power 17 sensor, and then I could press Save here, and I can see the consumption from the sensor. Lastly, the price. I ordered the whole thing from China for about $11 in 2021. I definitely think it's amazing for this price. And above all, you can get a few more of them and distribute them in different places. For example, I have considered putting one at my workplace to track the power consumption of my monitors, keyboard, PC, and so on, as well as my server and the refrigerator, just to capture a few different values. It might also be quite interesting. I can't tell you how accurate these measurements are. That would need to be figured out. However, I have read online that it is indeed possible that they are not 100% accurate. Well, for TENS you can't really expect them to be absolutely perfectly standardized, but to get a rough estimate, they are definitely totally fine. So with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, I would really appreciate a rating, and otherwise we'll see each other again next week on Wednesday at the usual time. Until then, take care and goodbye.